All right, let's dive into something that is truly going to stretch your mind. Today, we are digging into the Weaver worm collapse theory. Now, this is a pretty radical idea that says we're not just, living in the universe, we're actually shaping our own path through it, literally, from one moment to the next.
I want you to just think about that for a second. That car that almost hit you on the highway, or that gut feeling you had to just change your plans at the last minute. Well, this theory suggests those aren't just random coincidences. No, they might actually be a peek behind the curtain, a glimpse into a hidden survival system that's hardwired into reality itself. So, here's how we're going to break this all down. We're going to start with the big picture, this idea of a living reality fabric. Then we'll get into our role in it, the cosmic rules of the road, what it means to actually switch a timeline, and maybe most importantly, the supposed physical evidence left behind. And we'll wrap it all up by asking, what does this make us? Are we collaborative weavers? Okay, first things first, we have to get our heads around the absolute core concept of the Weaver worm collapse theory. This is the foundation, the landscape we need to understand before anything else makes sense. So the theory says reality isn't this cold, empty void. Instead, picture it as a living, breathing, magnetic fabric. It's like a huge, multi-layered tapestry where every single thread is connected to every other thread through quantum entanglement. This isn't a static stage for a play, it's a dynamic, interactive web. And this fabric has some incredible features. It's got a built-in safety net called the Guardian fabric. Now, what's that? It's all the parallel realities you didn't choose still existing right alongside yours. And these realities are linked by what the theory calls wormhole bridges. So what you might think of as a terrible, traumatic event is reframed as a neutral cosmic exchange. It's your consciousness basically taking an off-ramp from a timeline that was about to end and merging seamlessly onto a stable one. It's a survival mechanism. Okay, so if reality is this interactive fabric, how do we interact with it? This is where our own biology gets involved, acting as the engine, the power source for this whole navigation system. And to make this easier to grasp, the theory offers up this really powerful analogy. Get this. It suggests that every single one of us is like a biological nuclear power source. We're not just along for the ride, we're actively generating the energy that's needed to influence our path through this whole cosmic weave. So how do we come online? Well, it starts with what the theory calls nuclear ignition, and that's mitosis, the very first split of a cell. Simple, right? Then the power source comes online, once the heart develops and starts pumping, creating its own magnetic field. And finally, the fuel rod is active. At that point, you, the individual, become a self-sustaining source of resonant energy, totally capable of interacting with the reality fabric around you. Okay, so we've got a living fabric, and we have our own personal power source. But how do you use it? What are the rules? Well, the theory proposes that reality kind of has its own operating system, with rules we can actually learn. And this is where it gets really, really clever. The theory takes concepts we already have in physics, like the ER-EPR conjecture, which is this idea linking wormholes and quantum entanglement, and it gives them a whole new job description. Instead of being just some abstract idea on a blackboard, the theory says these are functional trade routes for our consciousness to escape a bad situation. It turns theoretical physics into a practical escape plan. Let's just translate some of this jargon into something that makes sense. ER equals EPR becomes identity synchronicity. All that means is you're always connected to your backup versions. Easy. Wormholes, they become life-saving trade routes. Active mass turns into the weight of choice, meaning the more you focus your intent on something, the heavier and more real that path becomes. And the gray body factor, that's your consciousness bandwidth, how clearly your signal gets through. So here's the bottom line. This theory says your intent, your focused will, acts like a selection algorithm. It's like you're writing a piece of code. Your intention selects a specific outcome from this huge database of possibilities in the Guardian fabric, and then executes it, pulling it into your life. In a very real sense, you are the programmer. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. We've got the fabric, we've got the power, we've got the operating system. Now, how does one of these reality trades actually go down? So a reality trade is described as a throw. It's the system's way of flinging your consciousness from a timeline that's about to hit a dead end, like a fatal car crash, into an almost identical viable timeline where you survive. The most important part here is that the observer, you, is preserved.
You just keep going, even if the road you were on just ended. This quote really just sums up the whole paradigm shift, doesn't it? What we see is this horrible, life-altering trauma, a near-death experience. The theory reframes it as totally neutral. It's just a system function, a cosmic file transfer designed to make sure you, the observer, survive. It's not a bug, it's a feature. And that's the billion-dollar question, right? It's a fantastic idea, but it sounds like pure science fiction. Is there any way at all to prove this happened? To tell the difference between a reality trade and, I don't know, a hallucination or just being really, really lucky? Well, the theory says yes. There are footprints. And that, right there, brings us to probably the most mind-blowing part of this whole thing. The claim that these events leave behind actual, physical signatures. Measurable, observable footprints in space-time. The theory zeroes in on 3 key signatures that could act as proof. You see, unlike the chaotic mess left by something like a black hole collapse, a reality trade is supposed to be orderly. It leaves behind evidence of something called shadow dynamics, quasinormal ringing, and a very specific gray body factor. Let's look at each one. First up is shadow dynamics. The idea here is that a reality you choose, one you are actively pulling into existence with your focused intent, casts a literal shadow in spacetime. And the stronger your intent, the larger and more radiant this shadow becomes. It could be a visual cue that a choice is actively being made. Second, we have quasinormal ringing. This is pretty much the sound of the event, the vibration of the throw. Think of it like a fingerprint. A clean, successful transfer of your consciousness would create a stable, clear ringing sound. But if the transfer was messy or failed, the ringing would be distorted. It's a potential way to measure how successful the trade was. And finally, we come back to the gray body factor, what the theory calls our consciousness bandwidth. This basically measures how transparent the barrier between realities was during the trade. A value close to 1 is perfect. It means the barrier was wide open, your intent went through with no static, and you had a seamless trade with little or no trauma. So, after all of that, a living fabric, us as power sources, a cosmic operating system, and even physical proof. What does it all mean? What's our role in this incredible design? Well, the biggest takeaway here is about agency. It suggests we are not just passively watching a movie of our lives unfold. No way. We're active participants. And we get to choose our mode of awareness. We can be watching, kind of just open to all possibilities, or we can be being, where we focus our intent and make a reality concrete. And this final quote just says it all, really. The Weaver worm collapse theory doesn't paint a picture of a cold, random universe. It gives us a protective, living system. It suggests that we are collaborative weavers, and we're all navigating this incredible magnetic tapestry together. So the question to leave you with isn't just, is this theory true? It's, if it is, are you just watching your life happen? Or are you truly being the weaver?